To turn my photos black and white, the first thing I need to do is open Photoshop, and then within Photoshop I need to open up the picture that I want to work with. I can either do that by going over to the side where it says Open on the left, or at the top I can go to File, Open. Both will lead to the same place. Then I need to go to wherever I've saved my photos, find the one I want to work with, and click Open. Within this file, I'm going to go over to my Layers panel. Down at the bottom, I want to go to the Adjustment Layers, New Adjustment Layer, or Create New Fill or Adjustment Layer. This is the black and white circle. I'm going to choose black and white. And there you go, my picture's black and white. From here, I can edit the reds, yellows, greens, cyans, blues, magentas. If you look at my photo, so I'm turning the eye off of the black and white, I'm looking at my original photo now. I've got a lot of red in this photo. If I move the red slider, this is going to affect what's happening to the red that's in the photograph. I believe it started at 40, so I'll go ahead and put that back to where it was. If I move the yellows, I've got a little bit of yellow in the photograph, so I can adjust that. I don't really have any green, don't really have any cyan, and I did look at the number ahead of time to know that I'm putting it back at 60. So these numbers aren't all zero, so you definitely want to look before you start sliding them around. But if you happen to mess up, you can always click on the icon right here and delete the entire layer and start again. So I'm going to make my reds a little bit deeper. If I'm happy with this, if there's enough distinction between my person and the background, or my object in the background, I can stop right here and be done. If, however, which is true of my picture, I have a very distracting background and I want to create more distance visually between Jack and the Christmas tree. So I'm going to go back to my adjustment layers, so back to that black and white circle, and I'm going to click on Levels. From here, I want to create more contrast between the Christmas tree and Jack. So I'm going to make the Christmas tree darker, which you may notice is also affecting Jack. From here, I'm going to go to the brush tool, and I'm going to make sure that I have black as the foreground color, and I can flip-flop these either with the arrows here or using X on my keyboard. Okay, but I want to have black in the foreground color to start. I can adjust my brush size using the bracket keys on my keyboard that are next to the letter P. I can adjust the hardness of the brush. If it's 100%, I'm going to have a pure circle. If it's 0%, I'm going to have a very faded out circle. And if I have it somewhere in between the two, it's going to be a little faded, but not perfect circle, but not, really, really hazy. From here, I'm just going to paint Jack with my brush. And if I'm working on a larger area, for example, his face, I can make my brush bigger, and this will take me a little less time. As I get closer to the edges, I can make it smaller so that I can be more precise next to the edges of the photograph. And as you can see, I have a Jack silhouette over on the thumbnail over here. And I can kind of see where I've missed any spots too. Another way to check for this is to turn it off and turn it back on again, which will kind of highlight any spots that I missed. If I happen to accidentally mess up, oops, And I can see it over here, right? I've got this black line straight across this entire thing, and it doesn't look great, not quite what I was going for. If I flip it back to white as the foreground color, I'm actually gonna make my brush a little bit bigger, I can repaint over top of this, and in my thumbnail, it's all gone again. All right, so if you mess up, don't panic, just flip-flop your colors and try again. And that's it, I'm done. If I want to make any adjustments to it further, once I've kind of looked at it, oh, do I want to make the background lighter or darker than it is, I can go back to the properties panel, which for me happens to be right here. If you can't find it, go to Window and Properties, and it will pop up wherever it is. It might be in one of these nested ones, or it might be just the icon over here. But it just lets me adjust it further. So I could use, adjust the mid-tone, adjust the whites, adjust the blacks, and get it to where I want it to be. When I'm officially done, again, you don't need the levels. The levels is just if you need to create some separation between your foreground subject and your background. I'm going to do a file, save as, name it, whatever it automatically pops up as, which I should have used my edited versions, which is last name underscore first name underscore emotions, and then 1 through 4. And then I'm going to just add in an edit. And I don't want to do anything with the ending right here. If I accidentally get rid of this, I'm not going to retype it in. I'm just going to make sure that my file type is Photoshop, and it will automatically add it in as it's saving. So maximum compatibility, click OK. So now I have, as you see it up here, last name underscore first name underscore emotions 04 -edit.psd. This is going to save my layers in case I have to go back in. My second save is going to be file save as. I'm not going to touch the file name at all. I'm just going to change the type to the top JPEG. Okay, so JPEG by itself. Not JPEG 2000, not JPEG stereo, JPEG straight by itself, the first option there. And as you can see, the ending automatically changes to .jpg. Click save. I'm not going to mess with any of this. I'm just going to click OK. And then I'm going to move on to the next thing.